In sports, if you want to be the best, there are no off days. Welcome to a special edition of the No Off Days podcast. He's Chris, I am Scott, and this week on the nodpod, we want to do something a little bit different. We're going to have a little bit more fun, dare I say.
Is that possible?
Than most weeks on this show. Yes, we are going to add to our acronyms. So this week's show is not a nodpod, but it's a nodpod pod.
Is that for our dad bods?
No,
What?
I'm afraid not. It's a best of discussion. That's right. We have a lot of discussions on the show.
Best of discussion.
A nod pod. I know you're with me. We've had a lot of great discussions over the little life of our old show here. Some between Chris and I. Yeah. And they turn into debates. Sometimes we then some between Chris, myself, and BK, and sometimes we have guests that join the fray. So we are going to let the discussions begin on this show, and with that, where we always begin, we bring BK in. So BK, I know we're not one to take many victory laps and pat ourselves on the back for all the accomplishments that we've had on this show. We don't do that kind of thing. But are you excited to have a little throwback episode?
I am excited to see how far we've come with this little program we've came up with.
I think we'll find that nothing has changed. I really think the quality we brought on episode 1 is still the same quality we put out today.
Well, we have a lot of great discussions to get to on this nodpod bod, and we will have much more to come. BK, thank you. Chris, thank you. And this is where you can find all of our episodes. We invite you to listen and watch. Go to fox13news.com/nodpod if you're watching and you want to listen or subscribe. You can take out your phone. You can zap the QR code on the screen in the bottom right-hand corner, and there you will find all of our shows. Please subscribe, fox13news.com/nodpod.
And we have WWE Hall of Famer Shawn Michaels with us. I remember as a kid watching WWF, and I remember you and the Rockers and Marty Jannetty and a high-flying tag team. I'm curious, it seems like, and I don't pay as much attention now to the up-and-coming acts, but tag teams seem like they were a little bit more common back in the day. Do you think that is the case? And if so, why?
Well, look, I don't know if they were more common back in the day. I think we had that's when the WWE was first making its big splash. Okay, so now so we paid attention to just about everything, and we had a lot of very different teams and different sizes and different attributes. You had, the Powers of Pain, but then you had the Rockers, and you had the Rougeaus, and you had the Heart Foundation. So, and nowadays, again, we've got a lot of tag teams still, but I don't know how many of them are 100% tag teams as opposed to maybe two guys that look like singles wrestlers, but they form a tag team. And look, I think that's something that's also a time when, I think people enjoyed tag team wrestling and tag team packages. And I think times have changed a bit to where now people understand that individual superstars are the ones that kind of make everything tick here in the WWE. And so I think tag teams are still a prevalent part. I know they are here in NXT. But look, I think we all also have our favorite time in wrestling. So we all have our time that we're biased to. I have mine as well. So you're not alone in that respect.
You kind of set the mold for this cocky, brash persona. And then we kind of see that replicated. There's other guys back in the day, speaking of, that kind of had a more bizarre approach or persona. I think of like a George the Animal Steel, right? So why do you think cocky and brash was copied and eating turnbuckles never quite panned out?
Well, I'll say this. I think because people can understand that cocky and brash is way more common, especially today, than it is somebody that's eating turnbuckles. I think you can walk down the road and see a lot of people that may think they're the coolest dude in the world, that think they're the hottest guy in the world, that think that, their stuff doesn't stink. I don't see a lot of people eating turnbuckles walking down the road. So I think obviously our business has changed quite a bit. It has to be things that connect and that are relatable to people. And look, I'll also say this. The irony of our business is that it's actually based on a lot of reality to who the superstars are. It's their personalities just kind of turned up to 10. And so everything that you see on television, these individuals have as very significant attributes to who they really are.
Take it you've never tried to eat a turnbuckle?
I have not. Tried a lot of things, but a turnbuckle wasn't one of them.
Before I let you go, real quick, I've had some wrestlers on the podcast before, and I try to get some pointers with each interview as to some moves that I can put on my co-host Chris. I'm curious if you have any suggestions.
Sure. Well, look, I always say because mine, my finisher was sweet chin music. I mean, anytime you can just haul off and kick somebody in the face, it's quick, it's easy, it's painless for you, and it usually gets the job done pretty satisfactory.
All right, I got to start limbering. I'm gonna have to stretch that out a little bit before I try. I appreciate it.
All you got to do is stretch. That's right.
He is the great Shawn Michaels. I appreciate your time. Thanks for jumping on with us.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Stay with us. This special edition of the No Off Days podcast will be back right after this. Chris, this year is the 50th anniversary year of your Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's right.
So a lot of big things are being celebrated this season, and they're going to have some throwbacks. They announced the all whites that are going to be worn on week 3. So cool things. How about we chat with a guy on the verge of training camp that has covered most of those seasons for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers? What do you think?
Who would that be, Scott?
That would be none other than the Sage, the Rod, Ira Kaufman.
How's the summer going in the Kaufman household? The big news for me, Scott, I got an electric guitar. I got a Les Paul, and I brought it home, and I got the amp, and I've got the case, and I'll tell you what. Once I start getting these chords down, I'm going on Fox 13 and gonna play a couple of tunes. But you got to stick with it. It doesn't come overnight. It just doesn't.
No, it doesn't, and it's harder. The older you get, the dexterity with the hand, and you got to get used to pressing on obviously on the strings and stuff. So here's a question for you: dead or alive, one musician you would love to sit down for a drink or a meal with?
McCartney, and I got the opening question, Scott. There's only one question: how the hell did you come up with all those melodies? How did you do it? How do you do it? He's written all the great melodies. There's no melodies anymore, Scott. There's nothing left.
Yeah.
And he gives away to other people. The guy's a genius. Even Bob Dylan said he's in awe of Paul McCartney.
So this is the 50th season of Buccaneer football. Part of their rollout this year is they've got this big uniform unveiling. I know the all whites are it's like the next thing, but what is your best color combo over the years you've seen all the iterations of it? What was the best? If you had to pick one.
I'm a pewter man, Scott. Now, Scott, full disclosure, I'm colorblind. I don't know what the hell's going on.
You should have led with
colorblind. My wife, my mother put my socks on until I was 15 years old. Because she didn't want me going to school with one brown and one red. I can't tell a red brown from that is a beautiful blue shirt you're wearing. It's fantastic. And you tell people you're colorblind, they freak out. They can't understand it, but it's no bargain because it screws up your whole fashion sense. So now you're asking me about Buck uniforms, and I want to talk about Tristan Wirfs, and you want to talk about pewter and orange and white.
On your wall, but I'll let it slide for now. Let's go there. Because training camp, of course, is upon us, and the big news of Tristan Wirfs missing the first couple of games, maybe 3 games, arthroscopic knee surgery. It's never a good time to miss an All-Pro, right? But it seems like this offense and this team is built in such a way that they can deal with his absence. How do you take it?
Well, I'd like to know a little bit more about when the injury happened and why didn't he have this procedure before? We saw him with a knee brace, Scott, during, mandatory minicamp. We didn't think that much of it. Now comes the news that he might miss 3 or 4 games. You're right. I hate the fact that Atlanta's, the first game, and I think you got to step on their neck. They beat you twice last year. It was disgusting. Bowles still has nightmares about those 2 Atlanta games. Kirk Cousins threw 8 touchdown passes in those 2 games against the Bowles defense. I'm with you. Now look, going to Houston week 2, not easy. And then week 4 is the Eagles. So it's not an easy stretch, but I'm with you. I think they can go 2-2 without Wirfs. I guess they'll use Andy Heck. He's a big guy. But nothing's going to slow down this offense in my mind, Scott. They got a lot of weapons.
Yeah, I mean, for a time to lose your all-pro anchor, I think, it coincides with them having probably their best offensive line ever. So I think the collective will be able to carry it. That would be my guess.
We're just getting warmed up with Iron. I mean, we have not even scratched the surface.
He's got many more Scots to drop during your conversation.
And he's going to drop some knowledge. That is coming up as we discuss Bucs and training camp next with Ira Kaufman. Welcome back to the No Off Days podcast. Our guest this week is none other than Ira Kaufman from Joe Bucs Fan. He is the Hall of Fame voter here in Tampa Bay, and he is affectionately referred to as the sage of Tampa sports because he has covered this beat for so long. He has seen every coach that's come through the doors over at One Buc Place, and everybody loves him, and we, of course, love him on the show. So we are going to jump back into our conversation with the sage right now.
Is there a player or a position group on the roster that when you're checking out these training camp practices, you're going to be most intrigued by?
I'm looking at Hassan Reddick, Scott. I think he's a key figure. Even though the sack total with Bowles, it's always going to be about 45. Somehow, some way, by the end of the year, they got 45 sacks, in their top 10. But that's not the whole story, in my opinion. You watch the Bucs like I do. I'd rather have consistent pressure. The 45 sacks don't tell the whole story. So pass defense was a huge issue last year. They went out and signed Reddick for a reason. They needed an edge rusher opposite Diaby. Diaby slipped last year in terms of a sack total. Reddick's got to be really motivated. Scott, he's got to be. I mean, it's a contract year. I think Jamel Dean, I'm talking about it a lot, Scott, on my podcast. My guys don't always agree with me on Joe Bucs Fan. I think he's really on the bubble. I mean, I'm not a Jamel Dean guy. First of all, he can't stay healthy, Scott. And they drafted Benjamin Morrison for a reason. And if that guy is healthy, he could take Dean's job. He's making a lot of money, Dean. For what you get out of him, I think he's making too much money.
Let's flip to the other side of the ball where you have Baker Mayfield going into his 3rd year here in Tampa. Guy's 30 years old. I mean, he's got at least 5 good years in front of him, Is this a situation where you think he runs it out here? I mean, based on what we've seen, if that holds, right? I mean, this guy retires a Buccaneer. Is it too early to talk about that?
Why would he want to go anywhere else, Scott? And why would the Bucs want anybody else? He's won over his teammates. He's won over the town. He's won over the media, Scott. We're falling head over heels with this guy, and he's very involved with the community, and that's serious stuff. He's done all the right things, and as you said, he's right in his prime. He's right in his prime. Now, I think Bucky Irving's the guy that stirs everything up on that side of the ball. We saw how bad the running game was 2 years in a row. Here comes Irving. And to be fair, Rachaad White ran it better last year also. Credit to the offensive line.
What about Chris Godwin? What's your read on his rehab and how much this team is banking on him to produce this year? I mean, obviously, he signed a contract, but he's got to, we've got to see him at 100%. And I think the jury's still out on that, right?
I'm with you. There are concerns, Scott. There are concerns. Now, you were there when Jason Light, after the first night of the draft. Drafting this kid, had nothing. It had nothing to do with Godwin's recovery. Zero. Now, Light's a great guy, and he's drafted very well the last 5 years, Scott. There's no question about it. But he's a fibber at times, Scott. He's a fibber. To think that it had nothing to do when they had all these defensive needs, and you're taking a wide receiver, and I think the kid's going to be good. I think Ed Buka's going to be good. But from what I can hear, he's a Godwin clone. He's got the same skills as Godwin, and works out of the slot mostly. So I'm with you. I'm not sure Godwin's going to be ready week 1, but I don't think that's going to cripple this offense. The way McMillan came on last year, Scott, that gives me a lot of confidence about this offense. Everything, Scott, everything was I called it club, Camp Tranquility. Nobody's holding out. You don't read about these distractions with the Bucs, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks before camp starts, you got this little jolt about Tristan Wirfs. Scott, I think you're with me. You can make a strong argument. Tristan Wirfs the best player on this football team. I mean, you can make a compelling case. They're going to miss this guy, especially in pass protection.
When your best player is rehabbing through that portion of the season, and he's going to jump right in, hopefully, second month of the season, and in the grand scheme of things, maybe it's not that big of a hit. I do agree, though, that there's, those early games, especially against Atlanta, that's going to be big. You want to get out of the gate strong in the division, especially against a team that swept you last year. Very good. He is the sage of Tampa sports, Ira Kaufman. Looking forward to seeing you back at One Buck this season, and plenty of Bucs games this year, too. Good
My
seeing
pleasure,
you.
Scott. Enjoyed it.
Always a fun chat. I love catching up with Ira, and we'll see plenty more of him. I'm not done with him. It's football season just kicking off.
He's not done with us.
Yeah,
and as the only member of our nodpod rod, ring of dignity or distinction?
Yeah, one of those.
Okay. He's welcome to come back anytime.
Anytime. It's an open door policy. Now, look out behind you. Actually, coming up next, we're going to have our Fun Block. BK joins us with the best of Fun Block. It's coming up next. Welcome back to the No Off Days podcast. You've waited long enough, folks. It is our Fun Block. It's time to bring in Brian King, Mr. Fun. Here we go, BK. All right, you have curated all the top headlines coming out of the nodpod Gazette headquarters.
That is correct, Scott. I have, and what I'm going to do is give you these headlines. Some are true, some are false.
Of course.
Yes, you and Cato got to determine which is which.
Let's get our truth sniffers out.
You ready for the first one?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, headline number 1, a return rescue. A man is rescued twice after trying to retrieve his phone. A man in Japan had to be rescued off Mount Fuji twice in 4 days when he returned to go get his phone that he left behind. Is this true or false, guys?
Oh, my goodness.
This happens to all of us. You climb a mountain, you get back down to the bottom, and hey, start checking your pocket. Where's my... Yeah.
I got to text my wife and tell her I got to the bottom. There's no way that is true. I mean, a phone is not that valuable, all that stuff, unless he did not subscribe to additional megabytes of iCloud space, then all of his stuff might just be on his phone. So maybe he has
everything.
There could be, everything, like pictures of his children
wedding
growing
photos.
up, and he never stored it anyway.
All of his passwords.
I'm going to say it is fake news. False.
All right.
Not true.
I think it's absolutely true. I think we are that idiotic as a society now where we don't know how to function without these rectangular pocket computers that run our lives. So I think he got to the bottom, did the biggest exasperated sigh ever, and turned his butt right back around and climbed back to the top.
It is absolutely true. Wow. 4 days after being airlifted off the mountain, a 27-year-old made another emergency call after he suffered altitude sickness when trying to go back and look for the cell phone he left behind.
So he had to be rescued twice.
Twice in 4 days. How about that?
You'd think the phone would have told him how to get off the mountain.
Find my phone or something,
Yeah.
Okay, sitting bull. A Nebraska man is pulled over while driving with a bull riding in the front seat. True or false?
We don't have a make model of the vehicle?
A
bull?
A
sitting
bull
in the front seat. I can't imagine any vehicle that would fit a bull. But this...
I'm going to say it's true. This guy was in a position where he didn't have his cattle trailer this day, right? But he had to get old...
Bessie.
Old Bessie, and that's not a bull's name. Old Bossy.
Fred.
Old Fred. Had to get old Fred to the vet or to the slaughterhouse. He had to get Fred to the slaughterhouse, and he said, okay, since Fred, this is your last day on Earth, you get to ride up front this time. I say it's true.
Okay. I'm going to go opposite. I think it's false. I think the bull was driving. That's what I think. I think the bull was driving this vehicle. Okay. That's what they do in Omaha.
Guys, it is absolutely true.
All right.
Wrote a VO there. That's Lee Myers. He modified his 1996
Wow.
Crown Victoria, so his 2,200-pound bull. Howdy doody.
Howdy doody.
Would
The
you
ride
look
shotgun
at
with
that?
him.
Just look at it.
Police said
those horns are enormous.
He drives it. He takes them in the car to various parades and fairs. Police said he didn't violate any laws, so they just told him to be careful just be careful while driving.
Look, he's wiped off the words of his car. It said Arnold Lice on the side.
It was an actual police car that he cut the roof off and put a little gate on the side. Yeah.
Yeah. That bull doesn't look like it's enjoying itself very much.
You know, you got to swing through the drive-through at least once with old Howdy Doody in there, right? Go through the Starbucks drive-through.
Or Howdy Doody's like, can you just let me go on the field? Like, do we have to do this thing again? Like, I'm crammed in here. I'm obviously not able to move at all. Not only that, but I have to go to the bathroom, and I need you to take a U-turn before things go real south.
You don't tailgate that guy.
Yeah.
I'll show you why they call me Howdy Doody. Yeah, he didn't look very comfortable there.
All right. Wow. Did I go 0 for?
You went 0 for 4,
Oh, my gosh.
man.
That's because it's been too long since we played the Nodpod Gazette. Well, thank you very much, BK, for embarrassing me today. I appreciate that. Not a bad show, Chris. What did you think of the bod?
It's never looked better.
All right. The Nodpod bod, the best of discussions. Thanks for watching. On behalf of BK and the rest of our Nodpod crew, until the next time we're on, there are no off days.